I'm Anniekolatkar, and welcome to the Coronavirus Healing Circle. My co-host is Ashley Lee, and we are both hosts of shows on Awake TV Network. And we're going out of our way to do a little something extra for all of humanity right now. It is so important that you hold that space of light for everyone to be able to face their fears, make the change that they need to make, adapt, and grow from pronoia. So tonight, a new sunrise. Ashley picked this name, and I think it's a great name because as we come out of fear, we have to adapt. And the way we do it leads us to this place where we actually can have new and fresh in the moment, which I think is super important when we are doing shelter in place and we have family members and friends or flatmates losing their minds because they feel that they are stuck inside and have nowhere to go. So it really is a wonderful opportunity to learn how to adapt and move into pronoia. So let's get started. The first thing that is absolutely essential is that we recognize we must let go of the past. And the past has been used by everyone to define not just ourselves, but everyone else and life circumstances. And when we look at life circumstances, we're really talking about how we go into agreement with others about how life is. So based on past experience, projections can be placed on others to reinforce that the present will not change. And so we're using the past to define truth, and then we're projecting it on the present moment or the next moments, whether it's an hour, a day, a week, a month, a year. And that is not always the truth. So to say something like, I know how to do this, so I will do this again to feel safe and secure, will keep you stuck in familiar. And familiar is a consciousness challenge, especially when you're in the midst of transformation that is going on a global level, that is commanding and demanding that you change and conform and a whole bunch of other things. So we want to make sure that we're not coming from this sense of, well, I need to just do what I feel comfortable with, because that is not necessarily going to support you inside thrival. So to connect with some of these ideas of letting go of the past, I felt it was helpful for us to try and identify with our attachment to the past. And it just occurred to me, I didn't put the concept of our investment in the past, which may also be something that we are called to let go of, because it may not serve our present needs. It may not serve our growth while the world is changing around us. But this is like a little self-inventory. Are we reluctant to change? And the world is pretty much formatted or conditioned or self-conditioned to be in this category, right? And most people will tell you, I just want things to go back to the way they were because it's comfortable, it's familiar. They know that they had a certain amount of success with how things went. And does fear of the unknown make us want familiarity, AKA business as usual? But the truth that is present today on everyone's timeline is that it is not business as usual. So even if we're reluctant to change, we have been called to change, sometimes forced to change against what feels like our will. And so this can add layers of discord upon the conflict that most of us are already experiencing, which is, I've had change put upon me that I did not ask for. And that is a significant conflict that most people are running these days. So the next question is, who are we inside pronoia, which is a belief that the universe is conspiring to support us? And inside of pronoia, who are we inside these new paradigms that are being created in the moment while we are contemplating how we're going to thrive in today's global pandemic? So you could ask yourself, does this change excite me? And do I want to elevate myself from the ways that my fear has destabilized me? Do I want to get out of coping and into managing so that I can stand in my power and start dealing? Because there is not just one change being put upon us, we're having multiple changes coming at a very fast rate. And this is putting a lot of people into overwhelm. So the previous videos will support you in recognizing how the overwhelm got started, was constructed, and ways in which you can manage that. And when presented by opportunity to release outdated systems and structures in order to bring in new potentials and fresh perspectives, even if it challenges us by asking us to change our thinking and our actions, can we do it? It's important to consider these two positions with non-judgment, absolute compassion, which we can then say, okay, so I may fit into the I'm reluctant to change in some areas, and then in other areas, I may be wide open and go, yeah, bring it on. I see a lot of parents who are very reluctant to change and give up their preferred choice in order to teach their children right now. And so there's a lot of resistance, which is creating layers of discord inside them. And it's creating tension and discord inside the relating between them and their child. So they may have other areas where they're like, cool, I get to stay home. I don't have to drive in Los Angeles traffic. I don't have to pack lunches. Great, let's see, what can we do differently? Oh, we now have energy and time for starting a vegetable garden, just as an example. And inside this, we can make new decisions with all this space, right? Energetic space to decide and choose something new that will support us in our new environment. A big part of what each and every one of us is called to do is go through reality orientation. Ashley and I love this picture because the woman, when she looks in the mirror, she covers her face because she says, oh my gosh, I can't look at myself. I can't look at what's going on. I'm in denial, or I want to suppress what I'm seeing in myself and my reactions to either myself, others, and the world. But yet when we look at her and she's facing us, she has this game face, right? I will be courageous, I'll put on a smile, and I will be upbeat and happy for everyone around me. So she's running two different truths inside her experience. One may be hidden and the other one is her forward face. And this can create distortions inside the relating. So perspectives are vital to orienting not just, to your truth, but to the other person's truth and then our collective truth. When we understand everyone's perspectives, and you can refer to the third video, which is Circles of Influence, to learn the 5 energy relating perspectives, we open the opportunity to gain congruence, to be in alignment with and have consensus inside the conversation, the experience, or the relationship. When we fail to perceive another person's perspective, the relating fails and the experience is distorted. So it is really vital that we take the time to consider the other person's perspective, and just pick one person tomorrow that you're going to consider to practice considering another person's perspective. And then you'll begin to expand on your new skill. Resistance is another considerable aspect to adaptation because it presents a challenge of releasing the past. We have obstacles such as our comfort zone and familiarity, right? I want to return to how it was versus, and we're talking about school or work versus I get to go back to school, which sounds like an opportunity. So reframing how you look at the past and the present moment or the future is going to also raise or lower your frequency. So practice the go back. I get to go back to this. I get to go back to walking outdoors and taking my morning constitutional. And this is reframing. This helps you stay new and fresh in the moment, which is the goal. You see, most of our success was built on doing it right the first time and then feeling very comfortable and safe. So we do that again and again and again. And it doesn't.
So we actually get to go forward, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes we say colloquially, like, we want to go back to that. But when we go back to that, we kind of reframe that past. And so when we reframe it and say, I'd like to return to school, right? And go forward from letting go of that past, we have new opportunities to explore, which is so exciting.
Thank you for that, because you're right. I do tend to speak a lot in colloquialisms, and we have many international people that listen to our videos, and it is about going forward.
Yeah.
So fear of something new or unknown is another contributing factor to resistance that we have to look at and say, oh, wow, that sounds like a fear. Okay, I acknowledge I have a conflict with something new or something unknown, and then conflict resolve it. Sometimes we have mistrust about what the future might hold, or we need proof that we're going to survive or have a good experience or be successful. And speaking of success, with a consciousness challenge called perfectionism, we may have fears about doing it wrong and the punishment model that would punish us for not getting it right. And finally, self-judgments are always a go-to place to look for where your resistance is. And sometimes it's just wanting the easy button. I want it easy. I have so much stress right now. I just want it easy. Well, Ashley's always coaching me because I have this time consciousness construct that I'm always working on healing. And I'm not ashamed to admit it because it makes me create priorities and to-do lists. And then I put enormous pressure on myself that I'm not going to get it all done. And so I might come from, just tell me what it is, or I'm not sure I can do this. I can't add another thing to my plate. And I actually kill the new potentials and the new opportunities while I'm busy doing what I know I can do, which is all based on the past. And I actually love when I'm in pronoia and the future just flows to me. It is just, it's wonderful and delicious how it can just come in and manifest and produce tremendous results. So let's look at the benefits to releasing the past, because sometimes we need to be reminded why it's a good thing to let go of something. And the primary reason is abundance. And when we release those outdated, non-resourceful thoughts that are rooted in paranoia, which are typically based upon previous limiting beliefs, we actually clear the decks to allow for something amazing to come through. We can gain a new experience we've never had. We can let go of unsuccessful events. For example, we can heal pain and suffering by letting go of a past story or a past trauma. We can let go of resentment and grudges. We can heal our consciousness challenges and release the past stories associated with those. And with that, we get to release the energies of discord that were associated with the past, which improves your overall energy in your physical, your emotional, your mental, and your spiritual body. And of course, I'm going to keep saying this over and over, new potentials and opportunities in every moment, or as Ashley would say, in every second of the day. So opening to adaptation means we have to start by choosing to adapt. And everybody has their own way of doing this. And I like to take a moment to consider what my choices are when I know I'm presented with change. And of course, we always tend to jump to the obvious, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their own style. There is adapt to change versus going through a compromise or settling or using old patterns of obedience and compliance, or even going through it with a touch of defiance. Those are all consciousness challenges that actually slow down the process of adaptation, and they keep us out of the pronoia state, which is peace and love. So when we open to adaptation, we want to invite the universe to conspire to support us on all levels while we welcome change. And when that happens, we start to transcend the past, transcend some of our consciousness challenges. We start to transcend some of our health issues. Our energy levels improve, as you'll see in this list. On the physical level, transmutation occurs. This is the body returning to a beautiful state of balance, and new opportunities occur. And Ashley, being the wonderful health care practitioner you are, as a CVICU nurse for over 30 years, can you please share with us some of the amazing ways our physical body loves adaptation?
I'm so excited to share about this. It really is exciting. I think in the general terms, in the very simplistic terms, when we adapt, so for example, we're in a stressful situation and we choose to change the way we think and choose to change the way we feel. So for example, in the ICU, and you're a parent and your child is on life support, on a gurney, hooked up to tubes and wires and life support systems. It's very, very, very challenging. And also in some of those challenging events, we can actually choose to create peace. We can choose to adapt to the chaotic environment and change the way in which we think and feel. And when we do that, our own blood pressure calms. Our own heart becomes more coherent. It becomes more coherent with your child's heart, for example, or when we're in social distancing and we're in shelter in place and we're at our homes, we become heart coherent with our family members. Whether they feel like it or not, whether they seem like it or not, we become more coherent. We become that light inside of our homes, inside of our environments, to create that change. When we decide to adapt to the environment and choose peace over chaos or fear, literally many, many, many things happen to our cardiovascular system, our breath, our brain and nervous system become more coordinated. We become more easy to reality orient with the other people in the room. We begin to start to understand the vastness of the challenges we may face in a centered, calm, and peaceful state. Inside that, even more rapidly, the opportunities emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually, whole being, whole environment, we begin to rapidly solve problems, solve conditions, and situations. I can tell you in the ICU that the calmer the parent is in the room, the more that the healthcare provider can, or our team can facilitate parents and other people being calm in the room, the better the outcome of the child's physiological changes. I've seen it over and over and over again. Now, granted, it's somewhat challenging to say, your behavior is going to impact someone's outcome. So we can say it here in this environment, that our behavior, our thoughts, our feelings, and the way we respond to stress does change outcomes, does impact our environment, our physiology, our emotional states, our mental and spiritual states. And then it does it in an influential way that it impacts everyone. And so while we're here in this healing circle, I'd love everybody to take a moment, even if resistance to change sometimes can be challenging. Take a moment to open to the idea that I can be adaptive. I can adapt to the environment in order to return to my true nature, which is love. That I can release fear in the moment to become clear on how to actually problem solve, work through issues, problems, conflicts, distortions. I know that when I stand clear and in peace, other people that might be experiencing emotional distortions or realities have challenges, and they actually might be able to come to a place with you to discover opportunities we have never experienced before. And as we're all learning, when we're a little bit more socially isolated, we are all connected globally. And so I know you're all here present also to support the world in adapting into creating change that we never knew was possible before. And so I'd like to support everyone in really breathing and stepping into that moment, noticing that adaptation sometimes can be easier than we think. And really, when we adapt in our mind and in our heart and in our spirit, the body follows naturally and organically. We don't have to make anything or push anything. It actually starts to heal and come to balance on its own. We kind of get out of the way, and life knows how to come back to balance innately.
It sure does. Thank you, Ashley. That was beautiful. And this process continues with every way in which you continue your adaptation to your new reality. You begin to notice that you are the proof that you seek, because the changes will start showing up in your emotional body, where you experience peace in the midst of chaos. And when you notice that you have changed and you are choosing peace in the moment, please take a moment to notice while you are doing peace and say to yourself something like, oh, wow, I am living peace in the midst of this chaos because I chose it. Just so you have that heightened awareness that you can do it and you are doing it. So the next time you're challenged, you can say, oh, well, this is total chaos. I'm going to choose peace. Even if you're not sure how to do it in the moment, you can open to adapting to the chaos through that peaceful vector, which will inspire you. And on your mental level, you can focus more on what you want than what you don't want. And that requires sometimes a little bit of mental discipline. I don't know how else to word that, Ashley, because we also go back and forth on the word discipline. But it's through conscious choice to notice your thoughts. And that is a practice that is like self-medicine, not discipline, self-medicine. And through this process where we catch ourselves with love and compassion, which means no judgment, Oh, wow, look at me. I am focusing on what I don't want, which is keeping me in states of fear. Okay, I'm choosing to stop that now. And I am going to choose to focus on what I do want and take a moment. And if you can't think of a single thought, just say, okay, I do want to breathe, and focus on your breath. And while you're focusing on your breath as something that you do want, then ask yourself, what else do I want? And this is how you can begin retraining your thoughts. Just, oops, I just wanted to focusing on what I don't want. Let me choose to focus on what I do want. And I do want to choose peace. And I want to choose to come from love. And I want to heal this situation that keeps going around and around in my head. And all my fears about my family and my friends and my coworkers and my local community. This is how, step by step, you change. This is an adaptation in process, in progress. You can do it. And on the spiritual level, we get to experience in a moment-to-moment basis profound peace. And we get to notice love flowing inside our true natured state. And that will definitely put a nice smile on your lips. So I love this idea of redesigning our energetic relating, because we're letting go of the past. Because you're watching these 7 videos, we have one more coming out tomorrow, you are different. You are already changed. Your unconscious mind is now paying attention in so many different ways. So please feel energized and excited that you are already different. So you can no longer look to the past to define yourself. It's over. And you can now stand in your power and make conscious choice about how you want to move forward. So a very important point here about energetic relating and how you're going to make conscious choice to relate from love is to recognize that we all have our preferences in our perspective. This sometimes means we're coming from our comfort zone, what our whole family believes, what our whole culture believes to be true. And this can create conflict because we were programmed to make choices to feel safe inside societal norms, right? And now nothing is as we know it. Everything is upside down, backwards, and different. And it's not just for you, it's for everyone. And the importance of sharing what you are learning right now is going to support everyone that you have to relate with. So when we understand that our preferences are creating conflict and discord and more problems, we get to then say, okay, it's time for me to look at my consciousness challenges and work on healing them because I do want something different. I want peace. So with this, we have the opportunity to create optimal intention inside conscious choice. Can you just imagine making all of your goals in life from inside love and pronoia, which is thrival, rather than the past where you may have made goals and mission statements from inside of fear or multiple fears? It really presents a different feeling inside your body, inside your awareness, that others connect to differently, and that supports your energetic relating with everyone. You can orient yourself to choose peace because now every moment is new and fresh. Life inside an environment that coronavirus 19 is presenting to the world has created this environment, not just inside of our house, but in our stores, our workplaces, in our medical facilities, and it's global. It's lockdown, shelter in place, or quarantine. And so we have this ongoing opportunity to come from conscious choice now to relate with peace to ourselves, I think it all starts with us first, to others, and to life circumstances. So that when we come together, we have that heart-centered consensus in our consciousness that is promoting a concept Ashley and I call in service to us. I will fill up my cup so that I feel peaceful and loved. And I do this for you, so I don't have to be codependent on you to do it for me. And you can be interdependent too, and fill your cup up with self-love and take care of your needs. So you don't have to rely on anybody else, so that we don't drain another person's cup. And when we come together with our cups full, we get to include everybody, and it's good for everyone and no one is excluded. This is conscious choice from love, and the energetic relating is enormous in terms of the huge potentials and opportunity that can be created inside love. So Ashley and I love this picture on the right, which looks like over 1,000 people coming together to form a heart. And really, that's who we are. We are love. Sometimes we forget because we have consciousness challenges, but we can always remember our true nature and start healing with the love that is the truth of who we are. So these are our gifts to you if this is your first time to join us. And this program was created from the idea that organically, the release of fear of the unknown happens when we actively choose on an ongoing daily basis to embody the awareness of having trust and faith in the absence of proof. So an embodiment is an empowerment. It's a puzzle piece that fits together. We get to embody an empowerment. We get to step into it. And this book here on the right has 21 gorgeous empowerments that will support you having more trust and faith in this time of the coronavirus. These empowerments will actually work to support those around you, as well as support the world changing. Because you are a beautiful pinpoint of light on this earth grid, along with all of us. And together we're holding space for humanity to change. And we invite you to sign up for the Conscious Choice Challenge, because this is how you're going to get conscious with your unconscious thoughts. And we've really supported a good number of people with this, and now is the time. So I thank you so much for being here. Today was day 6. Tomorrow is day 7. And use the same webinar link, and please share the YouTube video links so that your family and friends and your communities can get these valuable videos to support them adapting and changing and letting go of fear, and invite them to this healing circle. And remember, stay amazing. Who you are matters. Who you are makes a difference. And we love your presence here with us tonight. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ashley. You're always such a great co-host. Thank you.